Wow! This is where you do the reviews? This is awesome. It's like a studio. You got like, oh man, there's professional lights and cameras. Is that a red? Oh my god. I'm excited. Let's do this. And your no, stop. Your glasses? I can wear the glasses? Oh man. Dude, I've always wanted to wear a pair of these. All right, let's see what all the gamers see, huh? This is Oh. It's not a studio, but this is just some nerd's living room. Oh no. Oh. Ugh. Oh. It's like virginity exploded in here.
I'm not gonna be the good guy. I'm gonna be the great guy.
Okay. Well, enjoy your lifetime supply of virginity. Off you go.
And for today we have Free Guy. Free Guy was another one of those movies that was supposed to come out last year and didn't. It's just another one of the delays of COVID. But I think we have finally caught up to all the delays, and they really wanted to capitalize on the theater experience, which I respect, because similar to the upcoming No Time to Die, they refused to share this movie with like one of the streaming platforms, because, you know, HBO Max and other platforms are like, oh, see it in theaters or watch it at home, which as a theater purist, I kind of hate that. Like, let it go in theaters and then put it wherever you want, but like, incentivize a little bit. Like, going to the theater for me is such a unique experience, so I'm glad they're at least trying to wait for it to be safe to go out and do it again, and not just releasing it as a stream. But I guess they kind of got to make the budget back, because this was a big budget movie. So Free Guy, in case you haven't heard about it, marketing's been everywhere for it, like insane. I mean, trailers have effectively been playing in movie theaters and online now for over a year. Granted, there was a pause because it had to be like delayed and delayed again. Ryan Reynolds, you know, joking about it the whole time, being like, I swear it's coming out now this time. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't think it detracts from the film. Overall, Free Guy, you know what? I mean, I had a fun time. I don't think it was a fantastic movie. I don't think it was a bad movie in the slightest. I laughed out loud. It's very hard not to enjoy Ryan Reynolds in something. I don't want to be the millionth guy to be like, oh my god, if I swung that way. But I mean, dude, yeah, he's riding the wave right now. Like, even for the franchise, my best friend was like, is there anything that can cancel this man? Because he seems like, you know, the charming, good actor, you know, funny, sarcastic, smarmy, but still handsome. So everybody loves him now, and he's riding that wave and brings us this movie, which, for a video game movie, does a really good job of being just that. Picture Ready Player One, but not as dark. And, I mean, just a bit more fun, I guess. Like, not to say that Ready Player One wasn't fun, but it definitely was trying to be open for the kids while still having dark themes that were running parallel to its book. But Free Guy is kind of its own identity, but it still makes constant reference. It's a very meta movie in a way, but I'm jumping the shark here. To start off with, who directed Free Guy? Sean Levy. It's not a familiar name for me, but turns out he's made a metric shitload of movies. He has dozens of producer credits, dozens of writer credits, and a long list of directorial credits. I guess what you might know him best for in terms of directing is basically the entire Night at the Museum franchise. Directed that, and some episodes of Stranger Things. In fact, the funny part is he not only like helped to direct several episodes of Stranger Things, but he was also, I think, a very prevalent producer and writer on the show, which explains how, you know, why Joe Keery shows up in it, as well as this, I forget the kid's name, it's escaping me now, but he's the weird lanky guy. You see him in a lot of different movies. He's kind of typecast, but I like him. I think he does a really good job with all of his delivery and anything he's in. I like him a lot. In terms of directing, yeah, I mean, this guy has years and years of experience, and it shows. Like, it's well directed. I mean, even when things get kind of actiony and all that, it doesn't get too choppy. It doesn't suffer from, you know, Winter Soldier 2. Still a good movie, but I mean, come on, that first Black Widow fight, like, I've preached about it on my soapbox time and time again. If If The Revenant can do it, so can you. You can have stable, long tracking shots. Revenant, Atomic Blonde, Nobody. You don't have to have crazy cuts and movements to get good action on screen. You just have to have clear direction and just put effort into making it all look good and real. And then you're all set. Granted, it's very much like we're looking at Avatar here, where, yeah, a lot of it's sets, but also like 80% of the movie, if not more, is CGI. So for a movie that is primarily CGI, it didn't look hokey. It all looked pretty decent. Granted, there's some scenes where, like, it kind of has to look a little bit cartoonish because, for one, it's a video game world that they're all in. And, I mean, that's just the nature of it. But overall, like, I never thought it looked, like, bad. Like, the effects are good, which is, I'm assuming, where a majority of the budget went into, aside from Ryan Reynolds. The primary cast, obviously Ryan Reynolds. I've been talking about his ass this whole time. I'd say the secondary protagonist, definitely Judy Comer. Judy Comer. I didn't know her by name, but franchise did and loves her, and I believe she's been in other things. So she's great. I liked her. She did a good job. As did Joe Keery, the old Steve the Hair Harrington. Now every teenage heartthrob with the magnificent hair that, yes, even I am jealous of. He was in it. Every character that was in it, even the bad guy, which was Taika Waititi, little cameo. Everybody killed it. Everybody did a really good job with their roles. Like, everybody. Even Little Ray Howley and all that. I said his name right, I think. Yeah, cast good, acting good. There were even scenes of emotion where I was like, man, I feel for these characters. It didn't feel very high stakes, so I mean, of course I wasn't like really worried for anybody. I had a feeling it was all gonna turn out okay, but I mean, still, I was still like there for the characters and their plight. I'm split. So positive. Yeah, the movie was fun and funny. The jokes were coming, but not like too terribly much, like Thor Ragnarok, a mile a minute. But the jokes were there. They were fairly well done. I don't know what it is, and I also put this in the positives. It's so often you see Ryan Reynolds play roles where he's very confident, very smarmy, very like, oh, I know what's going on. I don't know what it is, but just seeing him in this movie play a character who is so well-meaning but is insanely clueless, and he plays clueless. He plays well-intentioned clueless, like himbos or whatever, like Krunk from Emperor's New Groove. He plays it really well, and even when he gets knowledge and he becomes like, oh, you know, I'm knowledgeable about this, but I'm still that same adorable chap that you knew from the beginning of this whole adventure. Like, even that still, he plays it really well. He knows how to be charming, even when he's like, you know, oh wow, the world is awesome. Like, it's great. I like it. It was fun to watch him in this movie. I honestly enjoyed it more than I thought I would. There's a good positive message in there. I kind of have some qualms about it, but for your average moviegoer, it's a nice positive message about, you know, kind of the meaning of life. It doesn't get as deep as Soul did, not at all, but the intention is there, and it's just the ideology of like, if you find out, you know, the world seems real to some people, but other people, I often will struggle with the concept of existence and like, what is life, what is reality, and they kind of low-key address that in the form of a metaphorical like character in a video game, where it's like this guy who's finding out that his world is not real, it's a video game, so he's like, what is the purpose of life? And it's like, yeah, what if that is like our situation? What is the purpose of it all? And then I like how they bring that up, and they're trying to push forward the message of like, oh, it doesn't matter as long as you're doing something special or you're doing what you enjoy, which is like, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, those of us looking for deeper meaning, it's like, you're kind of just like dancing around that question, aren't you? I don't know, but the kids love us. Like I said, it's pretty good for a video game movie, which are very hit or miss. Now, I will correct that immediately and say that movies that are made to be like video games usually do pretty well, in my mind anyway, whether it's Hardcore Henry, Ready Player One, Free Guy. I mean, the list goes on. Those are some like fairly modern recent examples, but it's very hard like when you're trying to make a movie based off a direct-to-video game IP, like the travesty that was the Assassin's Creed movie back in the day with the Super Mario Brothers movie. I think the only movie that kind of, I don't want to say gets a pass, but kind of does a decent job with its source material is the first Silent Hill. We don't talk about the next one after that. But the first one, I mean, decent. I mean, it gets the job done. Ready Player One, from its marketing to the film, I mean, and granted, it's Ernest Cline, the author of Ready Player One, his writing style, which is just to shove all the 80s references you can and pack it on down into one bit of product. And the movie itself exhibits that, and I think also suffers from it because the movie itself becomes like, a who's who of 80s pop culture. With Free Guy, you still have an abundance of, like, you know, references, like little Easter eggs, actors, items from other, like, popular video games, but they don't call massive attention to it. They're just there, and if you recognize them, you're like, oh shit, it's a scorpion tank. Oh shit, is that a portal gun? Like, that's a nice little treat for us, like me, the nerds out there, who are, you're going to see a movie about Ryan Reynolds' character here. You're not going to see a movie just to watch all the references. I didn't think there was going to be a ton of references, but there were quite a few. There were several, and they felt genuine. Nothing, that's another positive about this movie. It didn't feel forced, you know? Yes, it dabbles a little bit into some cheesy dialogue and some slapstick humor, which, I mean, I love Three Stooges and all, but, like, I think that comedy shouldn't hinge upon slapstick when it gets to, like, a movie like this, and it doesn't suffer too heavily from it. But putting that aside, the jokes are there, the references are there. The comedy is very good. It's mostly organic. It works really well. I never felt bored. I never was like, oh my god, what are we doing here? Like, I was having a fun time, you know. The occasional groan here or there, but I mean, that's, again, it's the nature of it, so I'm not going to hold it too much against the film. The nerd in me wishes there are more references, because every reference that was in this movie was handled really well. Like, I liked them all, and I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, look at that, and, like, for me, it was really cool. And I think if they had put like 20% more references into it, I don't think it would have been overly saturated, but it would have just been nice to, like, satiate my inner nerd. You could have done so much more. I mean, other TV shows and movies have done it before, but I like how big blockbusters like this, because the whole thing is also kind of like a slam against AAA companies like someone like Ubisoft or EA that squander their IPs and the generosity and the goodwill of their client base, us, the consumers who buy all the games and such. And I like how they the movie takes a bit of a dig at video game producers who are just trying to, like, get the money, which, I mean, I wish it wasn't always true, but for a lot of companies it is. And I like how they kind of put them on blast a little bit, and they're like, yeah, no, it's about the game. It's not about the money. You build it and they will come. I promise you. If you focus on hiring the right people and putting the right amount of work into great games, gamers will come. We recognize, most of us do, when a game is good. You don't have to worry about trying to recap the bottom line. The time and money, however many years, however much effort and work is worth it. Don't rush the deadline. Postpone all that you need to. We'll wait for a good product. It's fine. Enough of the rant. Like I said, another downside is, like, I mean, low stakes, and the plot didn't have any massive twists, and I didn't think the narrative was extremely creative. I mean, I'm not here for, like, a groundbreaking Oscar winner here, but, like, you know, it's always nice when I go into a film like this and I'm very surprised by how good the story is or how much depth it has, and I didn't feel that. I felt like it was a decent story, one that I've seen before, you know, they've all been told before, and I think it was done well, but for me it wasn't anything that, like, reinvented the wheel, and it was just kind of like, oh, you know, that was a good movie. I don't think I'm gonna buy it. I might watch it again in the future, but I'm not like, oh my god, I gotta see that again. Like, not quite there. I'll end on that, I guess, that the movie was a fun movie, you know, hands down, it was a fun time, but I didn't find it overtly memorable. There were some, like, good scenes that I still think about a little bit. I mean, like I said, it's a good movie, it's a solid film, but it's nothing like, you know, it's not like, oh my god, Free Guy is the video game movie that we've all been waiting for. No, but it was nice to see this movie made. And it was nice to have kind of gamers put in a positive light, because so often gamers get shit on, like people that just, like, enjoy and play them for a living and create them. And I like how this movie puts them in a positive light, like, no, this is art. I've been on the soapbox for years of my life. I've had to defend video games for years. It's not just about the kid who sits in his mother's basement and plays World of Warcraft for, you know, 10 to 15 hours a day without a job. There's those of us who, like, it's about the stories, the experiences, whether it's narrative, whether it's a sandbox game, whether it's you're creating something or experiencing what's already been made. And this movie does, you know, having a revelation right now, this movie does highlight that in a very nice light, and I appreciate that. I really do. Like, no irony here. I like how it does show you that, like, there are people out there that put their blood, sweat, and tears into this shit and try to make a game not just for the money, but for people to come together and enjoy this. And they even put streamers and YouTubers on here. Ninja, but, like, Jacksepticeye? Like there were some other people in there too, but like Ryan Reynolds and Jack are low-key friends, and it's like, I like that. It's wholesome. And that's recognition. People laugh at people who are like, you know, Let's Players online. Not like I've ever made more than like a few bucks from it myself, but I mean, those are viable careers, and it's all because it's those reactions that you're watching. It's those experiences, the shared ones you have with other fellow gamers. I'm, again, on my nerdy soapbox, but I love video games. They've been a huge part of my life for as long as I can recall. And it's always nice when somebody does come along like this and makes a movie that shows you that games are that important of a thing. And they mean much more than what you think they would on the surface. Even if it looks cartoonish on the screen and kind of seems silly, and there's still the teabaggers out there and the trolls or whatnot, you know, take the good with the bad, and you usually end up with more good rising to the top. My rant is over. That probably ended up being way longer than I thought, but what do I say about Free Guy at the end of the day? I'll tell you what there, Sonny Boy Jim. Free Guy, I would say a very high 3 out of 5. I was gonna say average, but you know what? No, it's an above average film. Is it near perfection? Not quite. I don't know if I would say it's better or the same level as Ready Player One. Definitely around the same budget. You know what? For what it was, giving some time to marinate on it since I saw it like several days ago. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I would like to see it again with friends. I don't know if I'll buy it. But you know, I'd say why not? Go see it in the theaters. It's still playing. It will be for a while. I mean, you can't stream it. Like, if you like anything about video games, Ryan Reynolds, or any part of the trailer intrigues you, go check it out. I'd say it's worth a shot. High 3 out of 5. That's my review of Free Guy overall. Feel free to leave your comments below or talk about it. If you have another movie you want me to review, I'll try to get around to it. Otherwise, as always, thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate the support, even how little it is, whether it's my pig review blowing up to almost 400 views, or, you know, a review that I did that has like 2 views from way back in the day or whatever. I don't know, but I appreciate the support, and thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next movie review that I do. And goodbye, travelers.